How many businesses do you need to look at before you land on one to actually buy? And how long does it actually take to buy a business? Hi, I'm Jaryd Krause. I'm the host of the Buying Online Business podcast. And today I'm speaking with Matthew Tse, who was a career software engineer in big tech and quant finance. And he decided he wanted a more free and fulfilling life and eventually stumbled his way into acquiring improvmx.com, which is he's now running and growing. And in this pod, we talk about why he moved into trying to make money online or through a business. We talk about his story of trying two startups and failing, why he wanted to get out of the rat race, and how he made the decision to pivot from startups to an acquisition. We talked about what he sucks at in business, what he's good at. It was a very real, raw conversation. And then we talk about his journey and like how many businesses did he look at, and before he actually bought the one he did, how many did due diligence on. And he also shares a little bit about like how that journey helped sculpt what sort of business model and the price range that was right for him. And he shares his experience on how that happened, that, you know, why you should not be just feeling like you know everything straight away coming into the acquisition. And how you're going to learn and narrow down your focus to decrease your search and look at less businesses, but businesses are going to be better for you. We talk about mindset, which I talk about a lot, but we talk about how that's the fuel to get you across the line to an acquisition. We talk about his two major pieces of advice that he would be giving to friends. And number one is don't buy a small business. And he recommends a certain price range for his friends, if his friends were going to go buy a business, which we share in the pod. We also talk about how he's actually growing this business through retention and then growth strategies as well. There's so much value in this podcast episode. Of course, we talk about buying a business. If you haven't got my due diligence framework, it's free. It's saved people millions of dollars, made people millions of dollars. You can go away, get that at buyingonlinebusiness.com/free resources. Also, if you're looking at buying a high 6 to 7, 8 figure business, and you don't know where to start, reach out. I'm a buy-side advisor. I help people acquire these businesses and pretty much take all the work off your hands. For now, let's dive in the pod. Enjoy. How many businesses do you need to look at before you land on one to actually buy? And how long does it actually take to buy a business? Hi, I'm Jaryd Krause. I'm the host of the Buying Online Business podcast. And today I'm speaking with Matthew Tse, who was a career software engineer in big tech and quant finance, and he decided he wanted a more free and fulfilling life and eventually stumbled his way into acquiring improvmx.com, which is he's now running and growing. And in this pod, we talk about why he moved into trying to make money online or through a business. We talk about his story of trying two startups and failing, why he wanted to get out of the rat race, and how he made the decision to pivot from startups to an acquisition. We talked about what he sucks at in business, what he's good at. It was a very real, raw conversation. And then we talk about his journey and like how many businesses did he look at, and before he actually bought the one he did, how many did due diligence on. And he also shares a little bit about like how that journey helped sculpt what sort of business model and the price range that was right for him. And he shares his experience on how that happened, that, you know, why you should not be just feeling like you know everything straight away coming into the acquisition, and how you're going to learn and narrow focus to decrease your search and look at less businesses, but businesses are going to be better for you. We talk about mindset, which I talk about a lot, but we talk about how that's the fuel to get you across the line to an acquisition. We talk about his two major pieces of advice that he would be giving to friends. And number one is don't buy a small business. And he recommends a certain price range for his friends, if his friends were going to go buy a business, which we share in the pod. We also talk about how he's actually growing this business through retention and then growth strategies as well. There's so much value in this podcast episode. Of course, we talk about buying a business. If you haven't got my due diligence framework, it's free. It's saved people millions of dollars, made people millions of dollars. You can go away, get that at buyingonlinebusiness.com/free resources. Also, if you're looking at buying a high 6 to 7, 8 figure business, and you don't know where to start, reach out. I'm a buy-side advisor. I help people acquire these businesses and pretty much take all the work off your hands. For now, let's dive in the pod. Enjoy. Matthew, welcome to the pod. Thank you for your time.
Hey, Jaryd. Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm so excited to ask a million questions. But first of all, Congratulations on your acquisition.
Thank you. This has been one of the coolest things I've done in my life, buying and running a
that's
Problem X.
that's amazing. What and so first up, like why buy a business? Why buy a software business? What led you to this? Like yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing is I realized that I can't really work in a company anymore. Like I just hate the idea of working for somebody and coming into a schedule and making someone else richer. Like I just couldn't do it anymore after doing it for about 10 years in the software space. I work for good companies like big tech, quant finance, etc. But just the concept I became allergic to over time. I feel like I'd rather be poor than continue doing this. So the business seemed kind of attractive because not only would I not be poor, but hopefully I'd make some good money from it. And also I can just fully set my schedule. And the big thing was that I realized that there are things called like lifestyle indie hacker businesses, and the business you run does not need to be like a VC backed venture rocket ship. You can kind of run something at your own pace. And that idea came to me. I just really wanted to do it. And as to why buying a business as opposed to starting one, I tried to start a few, they failed, and then I decided to buy one. That's all.
That's the same with me. I tried to start a few and then failed as well. What did you try to start?
At first, I made this like tax estimation little web app to help people estimate the taxes they make. And it was kind of cool, but the path to monetization was just so far that it wasn't really worth investing anymore. And then I tried to make a like AI powered receipt scanner. I want to like track their business expenses.
Yeah.
And product was actually kind of cool, but just it's so hard to bootstrap trust and initial users. Like, no one wants to trust a brand new product. And I'm not good at generating hype and trust from nothing. I'm really bad at that, which I can get into why buying in Problem X was good because of my weakness there. Yeah.
I think it is hard to start a business and really get it going without like a bit of money behind you as well, and also like minimal stress. Like most people that start businesses, I would say, are starting them so they can have a better lifestyle and starting with very little to nothing. So there's like a lot riding on it, and whilst that can be a good thing, it can also come through in just like how hard it is to get it started with minimal resources, right?
Yeah. And even with resources, I found it hard to get started. Like I have the resources to acquire a company, right? So obviously I have resources, but it was not obvious that I could funnel that into the business that I'm starting. Like, what do I do? Just pay for massive Google ads and then still nobody wants it. So I couldn't even with money, I couldn't pay money to get people to use my product. That's how I'll put it. That's how bad and that's how hard it is to start a business, I think. Especially like a SaaS business where, the since it's not geolocationally bound, you're competing with everybody around the world. Whereas like if you're trying to mow someone's lawn, the value is immediate there and you're not competing with every lawnmower in the United States. So I found it really difficult to start something from scratch. So that's what led me to this path.
Also, finding product market fit for the industry of somebody that's already trying to save money on taxes is probably not going to be the one that's like forfeiting money to,
Yeah, also true. I mean, I was thinking of some sort of like advertising data mining type scheme to make money from it, but you're right. That's a difficult first market to enter.
I mean, I tried to be a travel blogger, and everybody's a travel blogger, and became a travel blogger. And Instagram just blew it up, and there wasn't a lot of money in space at all. And so, how did you come to the conclusion of buying something? Like, how did that evolve for you instead of starting?
Yeah,
you tried to. Like I tried to, and I sucked as well.
Yeah. So the idea of buying something came to me from a My First Million podcast, and basically they described their one friend.
I know Justin.
They described their one friend, Ramon Van Meer, who bought a dog ramp e-commerce for like $200,000 and scaled it to like millions in revenue. And I was like, that's not that much money. I could buy something like that. I could do something like that. And the idea of like buying revenue and reputation and everything and then growing that sounded so much more appealing to me because like that was the hard part, right? getting that initial snowball. And then I felt like I had initial snowball, like a good start that I could have the taste to like iterate, improve it, and grow it. That was my hypothesis. So even though I can't build something from scratch, I felt like my skills in like working in startups, big tech companies, like I could, even though I might not be able to build something from scratch, I feel like I can scale something by just iteratively improving it and checking the results and using my judgment there. And just the last bit there is that I want to use I want to play entrepreneurship on easy mode. Any advantage I have, I need to use it, right? And I have capital. I don't need to start from nothing. So buying a business is using capital to kind of accelerate my growth. So it's just using another version of leverage.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. It's I'm such a good case, but I've been mentioning this forever for years. That you don't need to know how to start a business to buy a business and be successful. A lot of people and some brokers even have said, if you haven't started a business, maybe you shouldn't be buying a business.
Mm.
But it's just not true. And it's an absolute shame because somebody could get to when the startup rate is like 90% of startups fail, somebody could get to their eighth business and throw in the towel and then just go, I'm just going to stick with this 9 to 5 that just kills their soul, right? Like it's not the right thing to say to everybody. And not everybody should be buying a business either, but
I'll say that, I agree with that. But I agree in general, because for me, that's the case that I couldn't really start one, but I could buy one and be successful there. But I think buying one is almost just as hard as starting one. The reason why it worked for me is simply because my particular skill sets mean that I'm better qualified to buy and scale one than I was to start from scratch. But I don't think it's necessarily easier. I think it's just my particular entrepreneurship, like starting skill levels, was better suited to that. Yeah, but it was hard too.
It is hard. It'd be silly to just say, just buy a business and it's easy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, right? Like how many businesses did you even look at and do due diligence?
Over 1,000. Over 1,000.
Yeah. And where were you looking? Like where were you looking for these?
I looked everywhere. I mean,
did you do cold outreach? Like, did you go just?
I started to. I started to.
I started to realize it's a pretty tough job, isn't it?
Yeah. So really, I mean, you asked the question, where did I look? But I think the bigger question is kind of like I can tell someone look everywhere, but I think the bigger thing is actually more of figuring out where your entrepreneurship profile matches with what type of business and getting clarity on that over time. That's where the progress needs to happen, because there are deals all over the place. And just by getting access to more deals does not necessarily mean you'll find the right business. It really is just getting more clarity about yourself, such that a deal that comes in through any one of the given channels, you'll be more certain about it. That's how I feel. So I looked everywhere. I looked at Acquire.com. I looked at Quiet Light Brokerage. I looked at Flippa. I started doing outreach. I registered for a bunch of those private brokerages like FE International, just like everywhere I could. I ended up finding Improv Mix from Quiet Light.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. They'll be happy to hear that we're talking about this on the pod. So I'm so glad that you mentioned about how for you, it sounds like it was for you, is that you don't just need more businesses to find, and you don't need to find a lot of businesses, but you said specifically through looking at a lot of businesses, you worked out what type of business you wanted to buy, which means, to put that in layman's terms, is like you worked out what business model and type of business was going to suit you, which allowed you to narrow your search criteria down and not look for a lot of businesses, but you start to only look for those few types of businesses, which would have decreased the amount of places you needed to look and helped you hone in on finding that right business model. And the reason I say this is super important for people to know what business model, what size business to buy, what business model to buy, is because then you start to do due diligence on those businesses and understand that small piece of the market, right?
Really well.
Like that one business model at that particular price range, you start to know the valuation. And this is where people get really frustrated when they're buying their first businesses. It's like, I don't know what it's worth, and I don't know what business model to buy.
All over the place.
Yeah, right. Because like, of course, you're not going to know unless you just put yourself in the game and then just narrow it down and get really specific. And then once you've looked at, say, 10 businesses in that business model in the price range you're looking at, then you're going to start to know what's a fair valuation based on what's in that market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'll say more that when I started the journey, I thought the process, my goal is to buy business, right? A to B, let's buy business. And I thought the way to get there was to start expanding my deal flow, get more deal flow, and also expand what I'm willing to buy, right? That's kind of an advice in the physical structure space that if you're willing to be geographically unbounded and open your ideas to whatever, then you'll get closer to buying business. I think that was wrong in my case. I think that it was not expanding, it was actually the opposite. Because expanding just meant I started looking at bizbuysell.com and started looking at, here's a brick and mortar widget factory that I could buy in upstate New York. And I was like, I don't know, nothing's working. Maybe I'll go look at this deal, right? And I started doing stuff like that. And that was kind of like a losing direction. I was not getting closer to buying something because at the end of the day, the market's efficient. So you're not going to find an amazing deal. You're going to find an amazing deal for you, but not an amazing deal in general. Because if there's a deal that's underpriced, then immediately there will be 10 buyers and then the seller's going to raise it to a market price. So you're never going to find an amazing deal. The deal that you find is just what synergy do you have that makes this deal better for you than for anybody else. And that's the most important thing to basically buy a business that will actually give you a positive ROI and the lifestyle that you want. And so that's the opposite, right? It's not branching out and being let me go buy a factory. It's branching in and thinking are you the best factory owner in the world? And therefore you can buy a crap factory and make it amazing. If you're not, then the factory is not the right choice for you. So that's what I wanted to add to that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I wouldn't say people should go too far one way, for example, just because they know how to, fix a toilet doesn't mean they should be buying a plumbing business,
Right.
And also just if they're going to be frustrated in the sense that I'm looking at a bunch of different types of businesses, I'm just going to focus on one that I know that I'm going to be good at. You might not know that you're going to be good at it yet as well. For example, I've gotten into so many different roles as well that I'm I didn't think I would like this as much as I actually do like it, and I didn't think I'd be as good as I actually am in this role. So it's a happy medium, right? Like you said, you've got to have confidence that you can do well in it. Why would you buy it if you didn't? But don't go too far. It's you need to be this expert.
I see what you're saying too. It's a bit of a balance of both bits of advice, but I think at the core of it though, there needs to be a fundamental what am I good at? And that doesn't need to mean I'm good at plumbing. It could mean I'm good at a brick and mortar business that's local, and other people are not willing to do that because other people are only buying SaaS e-commerce scalable remote things, and therefore I have a bit of an edge there, right? So I meant fundamental narrow down into one specific business type, but not necessarily only plumbing. It could be that's what I mean.
Yeah, no, we're definitely on the same page there. And so when we started talking, you mentioned you'd listened to the podcast episode that I did with Andrew Piano, episode
yes, I did.
212, guys. Did you listen to this before you decided you're on your business model and to go down SaaS, or did you find it afterwards?
It's a long journey. Yeah, it's a blur and a long journey. But I work in software, so the natural thing to do once I started was to look for SaaSes. I built a few SaaSes and they failed, as I mentioned. And then when I was looking to acquire a business, it's funny. At first, I was okay, I'm gonna look for a SaaS. And then when I realized that all the deals that I was finding were not really a good match and they sucked, then I would start branching back out to let me look at factories and everything. And then as I looked at all of those and started to kind of clarify what my entrepreneurship profile was, then I narrowed it back over to SaaS again. So it's back and forth. And Andrew Pierno, I think I listened to that at the very beginning of my business search because there's a ton of people posting about buying plumbing businesses, but there are actually very few people buying SaaSes in like these
I agree.
five in the sub 5 million range. And so
Mhm.
Andrew Pierno was like basically the only guy writing about this at the time. I found like one or two other like sort of like SaaS acquisition podcasts that I just one episode of, not even the whole podcast. Just one episode was a guy who bought a SaaS. And yeah, so I found Andrew Pierno, and then I basically found every single podcast he showed up on and watched them all. And you did one of them. So that's why I watched it.
Yeah, awesome.
It's
Yeah,
like
no,
I need to like I'm buying a SaaS, right? So I need to consume all the content to try to get ahead of these landmines before I step on them.
it's going to cut your learning curve down significantly by learning as much as you can. Absolutely.
I think you
yeah.
dropped off,
And
or maybe it's me who dropped off.
Improv MX. Am I still? Oh, yep. Am I back?
You're back.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
You're back now. You're back now. Yeah.
I was just saying that, by listening to as much as you can about the business model that you're trying to purchase, it's gonna cut your learning curve down significantly.
Yes. Yes.
And
there were a lot of things during the acquisition that I did naturally, like ways I negotiated or things I asked for that looking back, like I'm surprised that I had so much experience when I had zero experience, but it's just from watching all these different things that I'm like, oh yeah, it's obvious I should do this because I read this article about how this other guy messed up, and let me just not do that.
Yeah, you're just great preparation. And so Improv MX, what is Improv MX? And I guess I wanted to ask why did this one land for you compared to others? Yeah. And why did you go through and acquire it compared to others?
Yeah. So Improv MX is a niche, boring, but cool email forwarding SaaS. So basically, if you buy like jarydkrause.com and you want to get emails to jaryd@jarydkrause.com, you need to forward those emails. They don't just magically come to you. A lot of the domain registrars like Cloudflare, GoDaddy, they might offer free forwarding, but it's pretty limited and you don't get any advanced features and you can't like send it back. You can't send emails back from your domain. So ImprovMX just solves that problem and does it really well. So we offer like email forwarding APIs for people who want to program. We offer like special routing rules, as many aliases as you want. And just like if you really care about email forwarding, like if you really care about your email for your custom domain, you would pay money for us to do this. That's what the product is. And to answer your go ahead.
I needed you years ago, because some email, some inboxes you can be set up with Gmail and different things, and you can try and pair them and forward them, but the POP3 and the IMAP or whatever it is,
all that stuff is complicated. Yeah,
it's just so annoying.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, I mean, setting up with us, you do have to do some DNS setup as well, but we do handle a lot more of it, and also we make advanced functionality capabilities. Like if you need special routing rules, like if the subject contains this, then go to this inbox or a different one, then you can't do that with just Cloudflare free routing. So that's what the product is. And to answer your second question on why ImprovMX was perfect for me as a business, the two things I realized as an entrepreneur from looking at 1,000 different businesses. I realized that I'm crap at growing something from scratch. I'm crap at growing something. So, like, I want something that has a distribution engine on easy mode as much as possible. So, ideally, it would be a product with a great reputation, years of good customers, and inbound organic growth through SEO and word of mouth and ChatGPT. And that's exactly what ImprovMX is. There's no outbound enterprise sales calls. There's no ads. It's all just like we rank number one for email forwarding, and ChatGPT also ranks us number one. We were like number 2 or 3, but after I acquired it, I improved it and got us number 1. And that's just like all our growth. So that's amazing, right? That I don't need to like learn how to do enterprise sales. People are literally coming in every week saying, hey, I want an enterprise plan. Take my money. And I'm like, here's how much it's going to be. Yes or no. And that is growth on easy mode, right? And I need that because I suck at growth. Now I'm like a lot better because I've been doing it for half a year, and I think I'm significantly better at it. But if I were to buy a SaaS that was like flat or declining, and I need to turn around, that would have been hard. I don't know if I could have been able to do that at the time. And so I don't think I should have bought a SaaS like that. So that's one that I realized. You want to chime in on
Yeah,
that?
I just want to add to that. When you start there's so many ways I can go with this, but what a lot of people don't realize is when you have a business, it's not the business and the system itself that makes the money. It's the audience that and the trust that the audience has in the business that brings in the money and is the sales engine. So you don't just start a business if you're wanting to start a business and make money. You build an audience, and then you ask them what they need, and the product and the service will then, that's how you find product market fit. When you buy a business, you're buying an audience. You're buying a sales channel where there's trust. You're providing a service to an audience that is already looking for that, and they know exactly where to get it. So that's this, like you said, that's the growth on easy mode, is because you're buying you're buying an audience, and you're buying something in the marketplace that's providing a product or service that people are screaming for, and they've found this business.
Yeah.
That's key. That's a key thing, because people are like, I just want to buy businesses that, just makes money. Yeah, that's great. But what you're actually buying is you're buying the audience.
Yes.
And the system
not buying
provides that service.
Like the code is just like whatever, especially with AI, you can rewrite anything from scratch.
Right.
Very specifically, what I was buying with Problem X was I was buying a top SEO and GPT ranked business, along with like several hundred Trustpilot reviews and a lot of random people posting about it online. And that thing that I bought, that reputation in the internet that has history, I bought that. And that means that on any given day, some new person looking for custom email forwarding, they will search and they'll come across Problem X and they will trust it. That's what I bought. And it's amazing. I love that I bought that. And I think honestly, I think I underpaid for the value of it, because like I bought it and it was ranked 2 or 3 for SEO, and then relatively easily I got it to rank number 1. And buying a number 1 ranked thing is quite good to buy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you had some other things that you wanted to share as well. That was just one.
I had a second one.
The second one. Yeah.
So there are just 2 main things about my entrepreneurship profile. One was that I'm bad at sales and I had to buy something on easy mode, which I explained. The second big realization I came to over time of looking at all these different businesses is, that's one of my weaknesses, but what's my strength? And my strength is that I'm like just a really good software engineer. So like I've been working in reliability software engineering for the last decade at like Google and quant funds and all these different places. And so a technically complex SaaS that like isn't just a web app in a database, like Problem X is a giant pipeline of email forwarding that deals with domain reputation and all these protocols like POP, IVAP, which were written in the 1990s, and people still need to interact with it now. And that's like complicated, right? Like I think if you're non-technical, you don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole. And even if you're technical, it's still a pretty beastly thing you're acquiring. And given that like my background is in site reliability engineering, like this stuff is easy to me. Like this stuff is stuff I do while I'm sleeping. So it scared off a lot of people, but this is actually fun for me. Like I came in and I just started like taking the Rube Goldberg machine that was what the prior founders built, and I kind of like operationalized it. And that was fun because that's like what I'm really good at and what I've been doing for the last decade. So I just like, for fun, I will like improve the operational efficiency of like the code. And so I don't need to hire like a $500,000 a year SRE to take over this. I just do it for like free fun. So that's the second thing, that I found a very technically complex SaaS that makes this SaaS not like super, super, super hot the deal, because if you look at just like the organic growth, like everyone should want to buy this, but a lot of people can't because it's too technically complex. And that's where my perfect match comes in, because that's my strength. Yeah. So
Yeah, I love that.
basically, the deal came through and I like put in an offer within 30 minutes of reading. Like the minute the deal came on the market, I put an offer 30 minutes later. And then I like just went 1,000% in to buy this. And even after all of that, I still think I underpaid.
Yeah, wow, that's really cool. Even with that much like excitement to buy it, you would have paid maybe more because you were just in love with the business.
I did pay more. I paid more and I beat out the other buyers. And even at that price, I think I underpaid more.
Yeah, that's amazing. And this is
because that's what synergy is. That's what synergy is.
That's right. And you've done the preparation work to, like you said, you looked at 1,000 businesses. So by the time you know what you're looking for, as soon as that hits the market, you're going to make it yours, which is what you did. Before I ask my next question, just a quick one. 1,000 businesses, like a lot of businesses you looked at. What was the time frame that it took? Because I'm just curious, because just before you answer, people listening, don't put a time frame on how long your journey should be or how long something should take. You shouldn't be measuring time. You should be measuring inputs, because time for this is an inaccurate unit of measurement. But a lot of people default to like, I'm going to give myself X amount of months to find and buy a business. But what was the time frame for you?
Yeah, relatively short in the grand scheme of things, but it felt very long.
Because you looked at thousands of businesses.
And I looked at 1,000, and like during that time, I'm not like writing code, selling subscriptions. I'm just like clicking links and looking at things, and my savings are draining, whatever. Like I didn't feel like progress, and a lot of times it felt very demoralizing, and I didn't know if I would ever buy something. But relatively short, basically, and it depends on how you want to count it, because once I quit my job, I did start looking at some businesses, but I was more trying to build my own thing at that time. So let's like not really count that. And let's say I spent half a year building my own things. They all failed. And after I got really dejected from that, then I started really seriously looking at buying something. So let's count it there. And then from that point until when I bought Improv Next was about 6 months, which is short in the grand scheme of things.
Extremely short. For how many businesses you looked at, and it would feel long with two failures in that time frame and buying a business. That's a lot crammed into a short period of time, I would say.
With
a lot.
With what crammed in? What what?
Two failed startups and buying a business. There's a lot crammed into that.
It's two failed startups in 6 months, and then I stopped trying to build something. And then
a year of like just trying to get
exactly.
No, we're on the same page there for sure. So what's in that 6 months of your acquisition journey, what are maybe 1 to 3 of the top things that you would share with somebody if your friends came to you and said, Matt, I'm going to buy a business. What would you advise me and share with me before I get started?
All right. The number one thing is kind of related to the two things I mentioned earlier, which is that this is a journey not about finding businesses, but it's a journey about finding yourself. I know it sounds really woo-woo, but it was true for me. It was honestly really true for me that I could open my funnel. Like if I could have a magic wand that opened my funnel to every single on and off market business in the world and like was able to filter all of them, that would not have gotten me any closer to buying a business, because there's, finding the right business that is more valuable to you than to other people, but also you need to do the work to realize why that's a match for you, which will give you the confidence to actually go through, put the money down and sign the contract. Like that's like signing that contract and putting that money down is like, it's like getting married, right? Like you have all these jitters and you get really scared, and you need internal work before you're able to do that. So even if you had access to all the deals in the world, like you didn't do the internal work to actually give you the confidence to go through and buy a thing. So that's my number one advice. So this is an internal journey I think more so than an external one, to be honest. That's one big advice.
While you bring up you're coming up with the other ones, or you may already know them before you articulate them. the engine that gets you through across the finish line is mindset. And it's like you said, you need to have done some internal work to be able to get you there. And that's the fuel. That's what gets you across the line. And that's why I have a big portion in my courses is around mindset. And before you start learning anything around how to find businesses and do due diligence, it's like, what are the practices and principles you need to partake in to make sure you can stay the course and stay the journey? Because if you don't end up sticking with it, you may not find yourself and you can end up just getting lost completely. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. It's the most important part, I would say, of trying to achieve anything is having the mental fortitude to withstand the challenges that are going to be thrown at you along the way. Because like you said, it's not an easy journey. It's not just let's just go buy a business.
That's what I thought it was. The Dunning-Kruger effect. I really, at the beginning, I thought, okay, I launched these 2 things. They failed. Forget it. I have time. This weekend, I'm going to look at several hundred businesses and I'll pick 5 and I'll put in offers on all 5 of them and I'll have a business by next week. That's what I thought.
Just the numbers game, right?
I think a lot of people think that. I think a lot of people think that. It's really not true. It's really, really, really not true. Yeah. I took this time to think about what my number 2 and 3 are. Number 2 bit of advice is I've heard this before and I think it's true. Like through listening to a lot of podcasts, I've heard this and I think it's true that a lot of people start this and think I'm going to buy something really cheap and small just as a starter. And then maybe later I'll buy something more expensive and because I don't want to bite off too much. I think that's wrong, actually. I think that...
I 100% agree with this.
Okay. Yeah. I think that the bigger the business, the easier it is to run and the easier it is to grow and the easier it is to do everything, except that it costs more money. But you'll spend the same amount of time growing a $50,000 business as you will spend growing $1 million business, except you're going to get much better returns than $1 million business. So at the beginning, I looked at like sub 200K businesses and not a single one of them was worth buying. Not for what I was looking at, right? Because I needed to somewhat replace my salary, like at least get in the ballpark of that. And anything at that point, like all the effort I put in is going to like give me an extra $1,000 a year or something. And I would not have the motivation to do that.
I'm so glad you mentioned this because I would say 80% of people that come to me, they go, I just want to dip my toe in the water.
Yes.
And they want to experiment with something you shouldn't just be experimenting with.
Yes.
It should be something that you're going to do wholeheartedly. And so I typically talk about like a $5,000 business compared to a $50,000 business. That a $5,000 business has 10 times more risk and it's going to typically cost 10 times more work.
Yeah.
And it's going to make 10 times less amount of money.
Yeah.
$50,000 business.
All true. Yeah.
And you look at a $50,000 business to a $500,000 business. And
same thing.
It's a general statement, but you look at a $200,000 business compared to a $2 million business, and it's the same thing. And it's so much easier to buy a larger business because you've got less risk, typically, general statement. But it's making more money, so you've got more resources to reinvest into that.
Yeah, I would actually say, like, if a friend came to me and said they wanted to buy a business, and let's say they have a nice job in tech or something as a PM or a programmer, I would probably tell them to save money until you can make enough that you can buy something with cash outright or borrow from friends and family or get an SBA loan such that you'd buy something like in the, I don't know, 7-figure range, right? Like $1 million. That's what I would literally tell my friends if they were to ask me how can I do this. I would tell you save money until you buy something larger because it's just a much easier path. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I worked this out the hard way. I started with smaller businesses, and you don't need, if you want to buy a $2 million business, you don't need $2 million. You need like 200 to 400K, you know?
Exactly.
Because
borrow from friends and family, borrow from the bank. Like, you can do all that.
If you're got a good job and say it's in tech, or you're just a smart operator and people trust that you can execute, people are going to give you, somebody might have 100 grand, say, or 150 grand, and they might go to one other person or two other people and raise 50K from each and have an extra 100K that can get them across the line. And then you can get the rest from the bank. I'm not in Australia, Australians don't love to use finance, right? People like to pay down their debt, and they don't like to use debt to get ahead. This is why I love Americans, because Americans grow at a crazy rate because you guys are just fine with debt, and you know how to use good debt, right? And
exactly.
The people that I've helped the most use good debt and just kill it, absolutely kill it. So we're very much on the same page. You've learned so much through your journey, just through a short period of time.
Yeah, short period of time.
Yeah.
Very short period of time. And because acquiring something was all that journey. And then once I bought it, now it's a similar amount of learning for growing a business, which we haven't even talked about at all yet, right? But there's an equal amount of learnings from that I've had in the last 6 months.
And you're going to have the challenges there. But the thing is, you like in life, we'll have challenges. In business, we'll have challenges. But you've got resources now to be able to afford to hire people to do certain things and grow it, marketing, whatnot. So what is next for Improv MX? Are you looking to just reinvest into it? And if so, how? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So the first 3 months were just getting a handle on things. So figuring out all the ins and outs of the product, fixing a lot of the tech debt that will allow the business to grow, and also putting in a lot of guardrails and processes that allow me to scale it from a labor perspective. I don't want to have to write every single new feature for it, but there was none of that because it was all just the prior founder who was doing everything. And so I needed to have a pull request process and start adding unit tests and things like that. And that took a while, but now I've got 2, 3-ish junior devs who are committing code all the time. And just this last week, we released 3 new features actually. After 6 months of 0 features, we just released 3 at once because all the groundwork was kind of laid and they all kind of converged together. And now we've actually got some feature velocity coming in. And that feels really good. And people don't even know about the features yet because I haven't sent an email blast, but I think that will kink up our revenue a bit. The first kink was when I moved us from SEO rank 2 or 3 to SEO rank 1. I saw the revenue growth kink. And then I hope these new features will kink it again in the second half. So basically the idea is just craft this product to be the very best email forwarding product there is. And just that maximum of if you build it, it will come. I think it's actually kind of true, even though it's a false statement. It's kind of true for this product, and I want to lean in that direction. So just building new features and making our customer service and the customer experience just top notch is what I'm focusing on, because that's fun and it's working. Maybe in the future I might look into enterprise outbound calls. I don't actually feel like SEO ads would help right now because we're already ranked number 1. So I'm not sure what that would buy me. Maybe I could buy my way into real estate agency email forwarding, and someone who's looking specifically for that, they'll find us. I'm not sure yet, but I know that building new features and making the product better will improve retention and improve growth. So I'm doing that right now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm working on, just making the product better from a growth perspective. And I guess on a meta level, I'm also working on labor, basically hiring the right people and investing in them so that they can contribute well. Because again, I don't want to do everything. So making my teammates more productive is also another big thing. As a quick example, I just launched an AI chatbot that is trained off all of our guides and internal documentation. And it answers a lot of customer support questions fully by itself. Freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And so now my customer support people don't need to answer all the dumb questions. they can answer the more complicated ones, and when they have free time, they can like improve our documentation so the bot will get even smarter, right? So I'm doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. That's definitely in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I think you're right around the SEO. You're managing it. Looks like you know how to manage it, and once it does drop below a 1, then you can reinvest into it. In terms of paid ads, bit of free coaching, definitely. I believe that even if you just to do some remarketing, so follow people around the web, wouldn't have to be a lot of money. It'd be maybe $100 or $200
What
a
is that?
week.
What does that mean? What's
Remarketing.
remarketing? What's remarketing?
Remarketing is basically where people have found you and they've gone away, like they've landed on your page. You pixel them and tag them,
Yeah.
Google tag, Metapixel, and then you
Yeah.
follow them around the internet on Facebook, Instagram. You can do it
And try to pull them back.
It's just you don't have to pull them back. It's just association that people know that your brand is there, and they might see your ad 2 or 3 times and not do anything, but on the 4th time they might, right? So
Funny.
because the audience is a warm audience, right? They've already been on your page, they've already been looking for that solution. They might go away and do competitive research and forget about you, or not just take action, and then so a little bit of extra money put to put your business in front of them again, being a warm, almost hot lead.
Yeah.
Typically, remarketing nets the best results in any paid advertising. Yeah.
So the one caveat there is that people are really cagey about their emails because it's very private and sensitive, and so we we have this reputation of being like utmost integrity for privacy, such that we don't even use Pixel and Google Ads. We actually use Plausible, which is a non-cookie based tracker. And so we kind of plaster it on the front, which is like, listen, we like will not read your emails. We will not sell your data. We don't even track you when you visit the website, except with anonymized plausible tracking, which is kind of like the gold standard for anonymized tracking. And so like, I'm not sure if at this time I'm willing to like take us one level down on the trust scale to try to do remarketing. That's the thought.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally cool. That could, it could get you more customers than than maybe remarketing. So who knows?
Yeah. So it's it's something to think about. But for now, like I don't want to play with that integrity there yet.
Yeah. Email marketing's huge. If they're on your list and you give them some free, I'm not sure how you would do it, but there would be a way that email marketing is a great engine for a business, and you could just educate them on email safety and stuff like that. But I won't turn this into a coaching call. I just want to say, Matt, congrats on your success and the business you purchased. I look forward to seeing where it's at in 5-10 years time. And thanks so much for your time and coming on.
Me too. Thanks for having me, and thanks for putting out past content, because you helped me to where I am now.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. And I will put a link to Improv MX and your LinkedIn for anybody that wants to get in contact with Matt. So thanks again, Matt. Awesome. Everybody that's listening, thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, guys. Bye.